This beautiful design was created with AI using Gemini 3 in just 1 hour. Hi everyone, welcome to my personal YouTube channel. Some of you may know me from DesignCode channel where I have been teaching UI design. I'm still with the team, I just want to have my own place. And over the past month, my workflow has changed a lot because of AI. So I decided to adapt this new reality and to how to work as a designer. So I share a lot of template and I received a lot of comment about how I was able to create beautiful design in just a few hours. So today I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get started. Before, I used to design everything in Figma and rely on developer of my team to bring my design to life. I started learning how to become an AI designer. Now I'm able to create beautiful template in just a few hours. The tool that I use is aura.build, created by Mengtu, who I have been working with for over 5 years or more. He built this AI builder with one clear intention: design thinking first and making it easier for beginners, especially those who don't know how to code, to design, and to prompt correctly. I think you can apply a similar process with tools like Lovable, Visual, or both. I also recommend learning a bit of basic code like Tailwind CSS. It will save you credit and help you avoid using too much prompt for small UI change. Let's look at real results from real user and the Aura community. Honestly, I was very impressed. Some developers who don't know how to design at all have great templates that are even better than designer. They are very good with animation. And that's what I love about this tool. It allows different profile, developer, designer, beginner to create strong, holistic template. So the process stay the same. Wireframe, polish the UI, prototype, but in a different way, which means how to prompt. So let's start with the arrow section, the most important part of your landing page. So how do we create wireframe with this kind of tool? First, we need an image. This image will represent the structure of the layout. You can sketch the structure on paper, create it in Figma, or just look for inspiration image on platform like Dribble or Framer, etc. Honestly, I don't overthink. I usually just search on an inspiration platform and pick a structure I like. Don't worry about the style yet. So we don't care about color, typography. We want the layout. So how the arrow section is structured, where the contents sit, and how the sections are organized. This is what we need. So let's take this image, then go to your AI builder, attach the screenshot, and I always just type something simple like create. And we're going to use Gemini 3 because it's the model that I love the most. It's very good at reproducing layout from screenshot and for animation. The card is not fully finished yet. It's missing the bar chart, but that's totally fine because I'm not going to use it anyway. Next, let's go to design mode. The first thing is to change the text because you don't want to keep the same text. At the top, you have preset for typography, color, and asset. For typography, you can choose from font pairing or you can use your own custom font. For color, you have light mode and dark mode, and you can define your color palette. Of course, you can still choose your custom color and create gradient. For asset, you can find motion background from unicorn and spline. You can also create your own unicorn background. But all of this come after. I very need to focus on the structure first. You can also use the chat. So you have default. If you want to create new code or new section or something new, use default. Use edit if you want to modify what's already there. For example, if I only want to change the accent color, change the text, change the font, use edit. Okay, beginners are going to love this feature, the prompt builder. If you don't really know how to prompt, just use this. It's very practical. I will show you in more detail in another video. I still use it myself for prompts. But these are actually the prompts that I use when I start with hero section. And Aura automatically use lucid icon. What I usually do is replace them with iconly solar linear icon. It's just a different icon style. And of course, you want to be more specific. Right now, a row section about finance, and I want to change it. Oh, and by the way, I always start my design in light mode. The reason is same. I want to make sure my design still work well in dark mode, no matter what setting user have on their computer. If they set the on light mode, when they open my template, it's going to be dark. This is because when I use unicorn background, the background doesn't automatically adapt to other mode. Okay, so what we can do is to use the component libraries. There is a huge library of component. Normally, I like to create new component myself, but sometimes I still reuse component like button. And one thing I also like to do manually is the header navigation. At first, this might feel a bit confusing if you are new to Aura. I don't know how it's work in other tool, but if you know Figma, you will be able to figure it out like padding, margin, border, background. It's all very similar. About this card, there are a few ways to handle it. I can either use an existing component and modify it, or use again an image as inspiration. So let's start with a component that we already have. Then I use quick prompt. This will only generate the part that I select instead of regenerating the entire design. So I want it to adapt to my brand, not change everything else. All right, so the card is very nice. It's not exactly the same style, it's more minimal. And the other card has gradient container background. What I often do when I create new component and I don't want to use it right away, but also I don't want to lose it because it's one credit, right? So I don't want to waste it. Is to add to my library so I can use it later or in another template. Just click publish code. You will see the code and the preview. But since we need to take a screenshot, I prefer to center my card horizontally and vertically. So let me modify the code and go back to the component library. And when you click on my, it will appear in your library. And another way to do this is to use image to HTML. So just make sure you select the parent container. Oh, I really like this card. So it's not exactly like the original, and this is what we want. So let me show you my inspiration. What I like about Gemini 3 Pro is that it's very good with structure without being too much identical to the original. And the color are not exactly the same either. It's more like a vibrant green, fit very well with dark mode. And the text is different and the layout is not the same. So I try to use less prompt as possible. So anything that I can adjust myself, I do it manually. For example, I don't like the grid background. You can go to layer list, find that container and delete it. Or go into the code and remove it there. For the logo section, I don't want to waste a credit on that. So I'm going to use what we already have in the component library. After that, I'm going to use the chat for new section or for things that you are not comfortable doing yourself, like in the code. For example, I want to change my button color, but I'm not confident editing it on my own. I also want to add a desktop UI at the bottom, and I can attach an inspiration to guide it to. And don't forget to select default. I had to redo this part because I selected edit and I had to cut it from my video. Otherwise, my video will have been too long. So you can see it follow the brand and the style. I really love this layout. It keep the same accent color, so I don't have to fix it every time. I'm going to delete some part because I don't like it when there's too much content. Now the card and the arrow section, those align with the layout below. There is too much space on the right. So what I'm going to do is manually edit it because I don't want to waste credit. So I'm going directly in the code. If you don't have any coding knowledge, this can be hard, so I recommend using Quick Prompt instead and look for the card. It's pretty easy to find because it's highlighting and green. So I'm going to add justify self n, which is align the card to the end right of the grid. LG justify cell n, make sure it stay aligned to the right on large screen. ML Auto push the card to the right by automatically adding left margin. So together, we'll keep the card nicely aligned to the right without breaking the layout. And next, I'm going to adjust the font. I like using this font and I prefer lightweight for heading. And the last step to complete my arrow section, of course, I will fix the logo letter, is adding motion background. Otherwise, it feels like something is missing. And I need that wow effect. And the asset, there are already a lot of background. Personally, I like creating my own unicorn background. Right now, I cannot show the full process, but if you want a video on that, leave a comment below. So I'm going to copy the code. And again, if you are not comfortable with code, use quick prompt. I don't want to place the background on the enter page. I want it inside the arrow container. I want the background to stop right above the layout, and that's intentional. If I put it in the main container, it won't give the effect that I want. I want the laser to stop where is the layout. When you paste the unicorn background code directly, it won't work because it needs to be modified. And if you don't know how to code, the easiest way is to use quick prompt. Just ask it to place the background inside this container behind all the content and paste the code. And voila! Three things I want to fix. There is a gap between the header and navigation and arrow container. Since I add unicorn background, I don't want to see any spacing between them. Also, I need more space overall. Everything feels too tight and is bugging me. So let's start with the header navigation. I will make sure to select the parent container. Then go to margin, bottom, and set it to 0. It's perfect. And next, select the arrow section and adjust the padding top and bottom to add more space. And Aura, we don't use pixel, we use tailwind value instead. So one, it's like 4 pixel, which means if I use 30, it's like 120 pixel. And you can see the card has round corner. There is this empty space on the top left and top right that I don't like. So we have to adjust it. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You will see transforms. This let you move the elements. I want to move the layout slightly up. So let's set the Y position to -24. Okay, just let me think. Everything is kind of improvised right now, so I cannot really follow a step by step process like I used to do before because with AI, the results are not always the same. So I prefer having a desktop UI instead of a card. But I will keep this card, but for another section. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this card and make sure to select the parent container and go to quick prompt and change this card into a desktop UI. Of course, using an image as a reference, you will have better results with image inspiration. Oh, I think it's look much better with desktop UI. And if it the arrow section were better. I don't know for you, but for me, I will keep the desktop UI. Next, I'm going to show you that you can use reference in the chat. Most of the time, when you want a one-shot landing page prompt, this is what you do. I want to add more section. Normally, when I build a template, I don't add too many. I usually stick to the basic like feature, how it works, testimonial, pricing, and footer. After that, you can always add more page. You can reference multiple things at the same time, like component and template. Personally, I recommend using Remix instead, and Asset, Code Spinet, and Chat. But in this case, I'm going to use component to help create a section that I need. And since I'm reusing component, I want to make sure they adapt well to my brand and style. And what's very important to me is the header section. I need a good structure with number, decoration, heading, subheading, and button. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I completely forget about this card and my prompt. I should have asked AI to create a section for this card, but it's okay. I will do it later. Okay, and also move the logo container and place it at the bottom of the desktop UI. Okay, I like the header section structure. It's missing a button, but that's fine. So the reference really help improve the landing page. If you let AI create for you, it's going to be very generic. You can also see that I have different header section style. So I need to fix that too. AI is not perfect. That's why as a designer, you need to check every detail and step in one need. And the first thing I'm going to do is add a section for this card. I need to place this card inside a section that use the same header style. I could do it manually by duplicating a section and changing the content myself, but I'm lazy. So I'm just going to let AI recreate it for me. For this logo section, I'm going to place it below the desktop UI. When you click on the content, you will see arrow top and bottom. Just click the up arrow until it's placed below the desktop UI. We don't have a drag and drop feature yet. For now, we only use the arrow button to move the container. And I won't be able to show you everything, but what you should do is focus section by section. And for now, everything is still very simple for me. I mean, the other section. So I will take more time to polish each section until I'm happy with it. I like to place the section inside a background container. I will use preset gradient and add more padding around the container and add a border and also around the container. And then simply copy the property and paste them into the other section. And next, I'm going to copy the header section container, then paste it into the other section. I'm going to change the content later. I'm not fully satisfied with my landing page yet. The testimonial section is too simple, so I'm going to replace it with a testimonial section that I create in a previous template. and I just add it into my library. So it's in light mode. So I'm going to use quick prompt and ask to adapt it in dark mode with the same brand and style. And voila. And after that, I will change the header section content to fit the testimonial section. So far, I have been working on this template for about 14 minutes already. So I record the last part, but for some reasons, I lost this part where I improved the pricing and the footer. But I still have my chat history, so I can explain what I did. So after the testimony card, I use image to HTML to create the pricing card. So I asked to adapt it to match the brand and style. And then I improved the footer and also I changed the logo. I simply use image from Midjourney and that's it. So okay, I think we are ready to add animation. Let's start with the card and the arrow section. I want to animate the number and the bar chart. You don't need to know the right them, just describe as much as you can. I will share the prompt with you. So I want the animation to be infinite, like never stop. And we need to mention loop and some keyword like count up animation, stagger, bar growth. Okay, let's preview the animation. Okay, perfect. For this card, I want to try another prompt. I'm gonna try candlestick animation because I don't want to use the same prompt as the bar chart. So let's see how it's look. Okay, it's not bad. This is the first time that I using this prompt. I never used it before. Here I could do something like a sliding from the bottom, but I will leave it like this. Okay, for this card is very interesting. I will go with something like terminal style animation, uh, type line by line, blinking cursor, and always and loop because I don't want the animation to stop. And yeah, perfect. Okay, for the testimonial card, how I want it to be interact is on arrow click. I want the card to swipe, like it is going to be a swipe carousel. So the card will slide into the center, out to the opposite side. Great. Okay, for the pricing, I don't want to add any animation. I just want to make the toggle functional and a sort of flashlight effect on over to the background and border of the cards. And for the logo, so we're gonna go to prompt builder and use this prompt. We're going to change for logo container. So you can play around and adding animation. And if you are not sure, you can ask ChatGPT to give you idea and give you prompt. And when I'm finished to add animation on the cards, I will add animation on load and on scroll. I'm gonna use a prompt builder, and the two prompt that I use, this one is for on load and this one is on scroll. But also, I'm going to show you how to do it manually. If you want to save if you want to save credit, you have to do more manually thing. So go to the code and then go to code spinet. You will see all the code here that you can use. And the two that I'm going to use is animation keyframe and animation on scroll. And you going to place this code inside the head right before the body. So just search. And where you're going to place the cursor is going to be the place that you're going to paste the code. Then go back to code spinet. We're going to start with animation keyframe and click on insert and voila. We're going to do the same thing with animation on scroll and insert. And now what we're going to do, we're going to copy the tailwind classes. Let's start with the onload animation. Just copy this code. And then what you're going to do is to go back to design and select the first element that you want to animate. For the arrow section, you want to animate the header navigation first, right? Click on it and go to Tailwind class and paste. And voila. And then the second element that you want to animate, we're going to change to 2sec. And then it's going to be the heading. We're going to change it to 3. And then it's going to be the subheading. We're going to change it to 4. Okay, we're going to follow like we create a second animation. And then the button, yes, you can do the primary button and secondary, but in this case, I'm just want to be faster. And then the card. Change the number to 6. And now we're going to test. I want to test right now if I do everything correctly, okay? Let's preview and yeah, perfect. And next we're going to do the same thing, but on scroll. So copy the other Tailwinds class, okay? The difference is animate on scroll. Okay, select the first thing, the desktop UI. Just make sure to select the parent. Sometimes you have too much container, so just make sure to click the right one and paste, okay? I'm not going to change anything for here. So when you change the number, it's only when you want to create a second animation. For this case, it's on scroll. So when I scroll, what the first thing you're going to see is the container. Of course, I can do the same thing that I did for the arrow section, which means element by element. Now let's start with section. I try to do everything fast. And when you do something too fast, you can make some mistakes. So that's why after that, I like to preview right away so I can know what I did wrong. Okay, let's preview. Let's see if I did everything correctly. Okay, that's right. Whoops. Okay. 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 Okay, this section don't animate at all. So, okay. Perfect. Let's go back and see what's happened. Okay, so I just realized that I paste in the wrong place. And voila. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And please comment below what you would like to learn next from me. Bye. See you in another video.